Good afternoon, Robert Scribbler here with the OBX Wave Report, and I am at Jennette's Pier as glassy waves roll in off a dark and gray North Atlantic on the evening of Sunday, February the 5th, and we've got a surprisingly glassy, barrely break here. Probably waves in the 1 to 2 foot range, but nonetheless well formed. We have a stormy impulse coming in from the south and some interesting peaky waves popping up here off the south side of the pier. The storm to the south is moving north. We've got a little bit of a low pressure system forming off of Florida. We're starting to get some stronger winds here in the Outer Banks, although here at Jennette's Pier, the winds are still pretty calm. It's you can see the direction of the wind by the turbine mounts facing to the southwest. And what's expected to happen is we're going to see some winds coming up from the south, picking up from the south. Already strong winds down at Buxton, places on Hatteras Island, and these winds are going to overcross the Outer Banks as rain comes up from the south, and you can see these rain clouds out to the south and west here coming toward us, and as well as like a bit of a cloud deck out here to the south. We've also got some interest here, weather interest off the U.S. East Coast, because the storm system is expected to intensify relatively rapidly out there over the Gulf Stream and get down into the 980 millibar range by tomorrow and kick up some rather strong winds out there in the shipping channels. Storm force, strong gale force, 50 to 60, possibly up to mid 60 mile an hour wind speeds, maybe even some 70 mile an hour wind speeds with the system offshore, not onshore. Here in the Outer Banks, we're just expected to see some rain, some strong winds, particularly from the south, and then whipping around to the northwest tomorrow. Not expected to warm up as much as previously, just the upper 40s tomorrow with some stormier conditions, but then expected to warm up more into Tuesday and Wednesday. And looking at the wave models, it does look like Tuesday and Wednesday are expected to be fantastic days as well. So, interesting weather here in the Outer Banks. We've got much warmer than normal sea surface temperatures out here in the North Atlantic. So there's a lot of energy out there for storms. And I've been curious about the potential for strong nor'easter development given those warmer than normal waters off the Atlantic, out off the Atlantic East Coast and into the North Atlantic. And recently looking at some science from some researchers over here in North Carolina, and looking at an increased likelihood of strong nor'easters as the Earth system warms. So fascinating science, although it does look like, according to that particular scientific report, that the number of nor'easters may tamp down a bit, even though the frequency of strong nor'easters increases. So overall, less nor'easters indicated in that particular bit of science, but more strong nor'easters overall. So you can have kind of a variance in that way due to various climate change related impacts. But it does look like the influence on nor'easter type cyclone events is to load the dice for stronger events, even though the overall frequency of nor'easters may decline a little bit. So interesting. In any case, we do have a surprise nor'easter forming off the U.S. East Coast, expected in the models today and tomorrow. And right now we're just getting really beautiful light rain conditions, calm conditions, very glassy waves running in here at Jennette's Pier. And those beautiful steel gray Atlantic waves coming in those classic hollow Outer Banks breaks that we also love and cherish and admire here in the Outer Banks, and that we all enjoy so much as we head on down to the beaches. All right, thank you for joining me for this February 5th session of the OBX Wave Report. And please remember to do everything you can to help save our beautiful coastlines by speeding the transition to clean energy. Clean energy being wind, water, electric vehicles, and the other renewables as well. And to use these renewables in a mass deployment fashion to tamp down and ultimately eliminate the burning of fossil fuels, which is the primary driver of climate change and the heating of the Earth's system. So thank you for joining me, and I will be back with you soon.